All right, guys, welcome back. As we've heard here, Deshaun Watson was named the starter for the Cleveland Browns earlier today. Now, this is a loaded subject. It's a long-winded subject. So I'm going to try to put it as briefly as I can. Back in 2020, Deshaun Watson was easily one of the top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL. The next year, the then Texans owner made some comments. I don't remember what they were, but a lot of people saw them as racist. Other people did not. Deshaun Watson was one of them that did. Now, I don't remember the exact comments that were made, but at the time I was kind of checked out of a lot of things. So for me, I was following it, but I didn't really put much stake into what was going on, especially since it was the Texans. It's like, Texans, okay, I'm a Browns fan. I followed it because it was NFL, and I'm an NFL guy. But I didn't follow it closely. Then after that, the allegations came up. Now, criminal allegations, which I went to, simply put, 2 district attorneys. You can indict a ham sandwich. They couldn't indict him. NFL got a retired federal judge. Federal judge, in her ruling, and these were like she did on the bench for years and years, said no criminal activity, but he violated the player conduct policy. 6 games. NFL said, no. Even after the former New York Attorney General said, yeah, I agree with the ruling, but we're still getting on 11 games. That was basically, those last 5 games were Jimmy Haslam punishment because he dared give a fully guaranteed contract to a quarterback, which was still to this day one of those unwritten rules, something you don't do. And he did it. Fast forward through all that, 2023 comes along. Watson's back on the field for the first time since 2020 in a preseason game. I was there. I saw what happened. He went like 1 for 5, 2 drop passes, and a lot of inaccuracy. This is after 2 years away, mind you. 2 years away from the game. Now, after the suspension, he came back, same inaccuracy, same fragile body, same issues, bad play. We stayed behind him. Right? He just got knocked the rust off. Haven't played in 3 years or whatever it was, 2 years and some change. Need to knock it off. That's fine. So what happened was, hey, guess what? Came back the next year. Played incredibly poorly. Did nothing but check downs. Didn't really put points on the board. Then got one of the weirdest injuries. I think probably the weirdest injury a quarterback's ever gotten. You got a pitcher's injury in his throwing shoulder. How do you get an injury a baseball pitcher gets? I'm not sure. I don't think any quarterback in the history of the NFL has done that. I don't think any will after this. So it was a weird injury to his throwing shoulder. Guess what? He's out again. And that was 7 starts in. I covered that on a previous edition of Brownstown when I went to Shadur versus Deshaun, franchise versus career, a couple weeks back. I went over that because I went over the head-to-head stats between Shadur's 8 starts last year and the 2024 7 starts of Deshaun. You can go back and check that out if you want the results of those ones. Brought to you by StatHead. Go check them out. They're always great for things like that. And then last year, he missed all year. You know, last year was a disaster with the quarterbacks. You would add him to it, it would have been more of a disaster. But then fast forward. Now, one thing we've been getting out of this history since 2020, he's played 19 games, all with the Browns. In 2024, he had one of the worst statistical years, overall statistics in the history of quarterbacks. Nobody seems to want to talk about that. On the field, see, I'm one of these people that say, hey, Rusty Hardin, I think Rusty Hardin was his attorney. The attorney that prosecuted him was the owner of the Texans' former neighbor. And he was going out recruiting people. You were recruiting masseuses when there are pro players that say, yeah, you can do far more massages for far more people in far more cities than what Deshaun Watson ever did. And then he goes after something they never talk about. I believe it's Jay-Z, who is the head of the NFL's, I don't know if they're parade committee or whatever the title is. He's responsible for Super Bowl halftime shows and stuff. Went after him, and the NFL's like, no, you got to get. We ain't doing this. And he threw his hands up like, oh, I'm sorry. I'll move on. We haven't heard a thing from him since. It's because he was a predatory attorney. You've seen him there all over the country. And what this did was hit Deshaun's mental makeup. He's no longer confident. He's no longer confident in himself. He can't even stand booing. He can't even be booed. Which goes to the press conference yesterday, not yesterday, but Saturday, where he just basically went after the fans and everybody else. He doesn't want to be in Cleveland. He doesn't want to be a Brown. He doesn't want to start for this team. He doesn't even want to be on the team. He doesn't like the people. He doesn't like the fans. And he made that very clear. He said he'll never get over the fans cheering him as he left the field with a torn Achilles tendon. If I had $1 for everybody that booed me, I'd have more money than Jimmy Haslam. Do you really think? And maybe it's because I'm in my 40s. Maybe in 10 years, Deshaun will feel different. You boo me. Fine. I've been called things you probably never heard of. Don't bother me. Some people are weak like that. Weak mentally. He wasn't always that way. He wasn't always weak. He used to be mentally strong. So I think he's had so much mentally, he simply can't take it anymore. He can't deal with that type of thing anymore. And it might be he just needs to go somewhere. We know he likes to be out on a boat. He was on a boat for a long while this off season with his, he got married, went out on a boat, and came back, worked harder than he has in his entire life. Was in a great place. The second the booze started, it's like it triggered him. It's like, boom, it's right back where he was before. And that's what trauma does to you, folks. He was right back in that moment where he was getting booed, where he was getting cheered as he was getting taken off the field on a cart. That, put that on top of everything else. And then you put on top the fact that he has not played well since 2020. He has played like dog water a lot of the time. He's had one good half of football in 6 years. Yet he's making I believe it's $44 million this year. What I say? I know Todd Monken's a smart guy. One thing he's not good at is lying to the media. He'll say the words, but you can tell the look on his face. When he talks about Shedeur, he lights up like a candle. Candle on Christmas morning. He's bright. He's vibrant. He talks about Deshaun. He's there. Just another player. And he doesn't say it. You can tell by the look on his face. He doesn't believe half of what he's saying. But here's the thing. When Mr. Haslam wants to try to get blood from a cactus, you work for Mr. Haslam. That means you're bringing him the drill. And that's what happens. So his play, he did not outplay Shedeur Sanders this offseason. Todd Monken said, Coach Monken said, we weren't in his meeting rooms. Well, at the end of the day, you got to stand on business. Don't care what you say in the meeting rooms. Business happens in front of everybody. We can see everything. Yet I'm on YouTube. I'm on Kick. I got, people over here on X, they're seeing everything. You can put together entire practices if you get on X and scroll down through all the notes. You can see everything you want. It's not like we don't see it. Stand on business. And the business is the play on the field has been nasty work. Now, I'll defend Deshaun on a personal level because I know personally he's been great, whether you like it or not. The allegations were proven to be non-criminal false. Now, I will say sex in a place of business is policy violation, player conduct policy violation, and just bad judgment. So I could see the 6-game suspension. The other 5, nah. I can see what he's doing. I can see all that. I can also see the growth in Deshaun as a person. But seeing all that doesn't take away from the field. Seeing all that doesn't take away from knowing there's a lot of trauma there. It's probably going to take years to get over. It's going to hamper him on the field. And hampering him on the field and naming him the starter. Naming him the starter, Todd Monken, and I believe Jimmy Haslam's throwing Todd Monken out there, just ticked off. Oh, between the Browns backers worldwide, and all the Browns fans all over the world, he just ticked off a few million people. Browns fans don't like Deshaun. Don't know why? Well, I know why. But I don't care why. I know some of why. Just don't care why. Now, what's that going to do to the team? Because now you got a bunch of young guys. You're going to have, I think it was estimated when the season starts, you're going to have 26 to 30 first or second year guys on that roster. There are 54 guys on the roster. That's not counting practice squad. They're going to come out there. You think 4,000 people booing Deshaun Watson was loud enough to catch the cameras on NFL Network? Imagine 15,000, 30,000. I was there for Deshaun's first start against Jacksonville. I was there listening to people chanting, "You sick." Starts with an F, ends with a K. I was there listening to it. I know exactly how this is going to end. It's going to end exactly the same way it started. You're going to push this man to the breaking point, which he's almost there, and he's going to walk out on you. These young guys, what example are you setting to them? They're going to have to go out there and listen to the boos. You're booing, essentially, they're going to boo them. What's the difference between booing Casey Concepcion, Denzel Ball, Harold Fannin, Isaiah Bond? What's the difference in booing these guys and booing Deshaun? Because they're all going to be running out there together. You boo one, you're booing the entire unit. How's that going to affect a bunch of first and second year guys? How is that going to affect a bunch of first and second year guys? If they believe you're booing them along with booing Deshaun. The effect on the team. Todd Monken says it all the time. Depends on how you play. If the effect on the team is something that brings negativity, that's going to negatively affect the play on the field. You're here to help these young guys win. I have no doubt about Todd Monken's ability to teach. He said, I have no doubt about his ability to get this team ready. He said in his press conference today, Shedeur is the quarterback of the future. They just want to make sure they don't mess him up, and that they want to make sure he is 100% ready when they go out there. Which I could believe that. But here's the problem. You don't have a veteran going out there that people are just going to be like, okay. You got somebody who is universally despised by football fans. When you have somebody who's universally despised by football fans, and outside of being babied by Mary Kay Cabot and Tony Grossi, despised by most Cleveland media, despised by most national media, hated by most owners. I mean, I like the guy. I mean, he has overcome so much from I believe his mother had cancer. He had so much, plus all the stuff I mentioned before. He has overcome so much to achieve so many good things and put himself in a very bad situation, which made him the villain. He's not the villain. But in this story, as far as NFL fans go, he is the villain. And that's going to filter down into everything he does on the field. And it's going to be felt by his teammates. Naming him the starter, especially after that press conference when he came out to the fans, when he said, I don't know if I'll ever be able to forgive them. That is a lot of people being tone deaf. Deshaun Watson being tone deaf about his situation. Jimmy Haslam being tone deaf about Deshaun Watson. And I have no doubt that this was a money-driven thing, putting him as a starter by the front office. Because there was no way I'm going to think Todd Monken's that damn stupid as to look at all this and say, man, this is a great thing for my team. It's not. No way. So we have to look at what's it going to mean on the field. Deshaun doesn't throw the ball deep. I don't even know if he can throw the ball deep consistently anymore. He has to almost jump into passes to get a strong pass over the middle because of the shoulder. No, that's not his fault, but it's the reality of the situation. If we keep everything on the field, he doesn't have the arm strength. He's shown that. He's proven that. He doesn't have the decision-making ability anymore. 19 games in 6 years. He doesn't have it. You have to play the game to keep those instincts. He throws to way too many wide-open defenders. That's not something that I can help. I mean, Coach Monken's done a great job throughout his career getting the most out of nothing at quarterback. I mean, the last time a college football team won back-to-back championships was Georgia. That was with Kirby Smart as head coach and Todd Monken as offensive coordinator. And he got Stetson Bennett drafted into the NFL. Stetson Bennett got drafted he's not even in the NFL anymore. It was based on Todd Monken. Todd Monken has always got the best out of his players. And I can understand how Jimmy Haslam would say, Todd Monken can get the best out of Deshaun Watson. But if you're not playing the game for that long, and you've got so much repressed trauma that you're working through, and the fans don't want to see you. They're actively booing you, and even when you haven't thrown a pass yet, They're booing you at home. They're calling you names loudly on the road. That's going to have a devastating effect on the team. I would have wished Deshaun would have retired after he tore his Achilles for a second time because he just got married. He's one Achilles tear, never being able to play with his kids the same way again. And I've said that before, and I'll say it again. His injury history, his time away from the field has caused his play on the field to deteriorate greatly. And that's going to hurt the team. The fact that the fans are not going to give him a chance is going to hurt the team. So what's the effect on the team? How can you say Shedeur is the quarterback of the future, yet at the same time put somebody out there where there might not be a future for you by the time Shedeur is completely ready in your mind? It's a tough situation for Coach Munkin to be in because he's got his boss wanting to get blood from a turnip. He's got his guys and his evaluation and his job to do. And he's working against the fans of Cleveland. And Coach Munkin, he is not good at lying. You can tell by his facial expressions what he means when he says things. He can say the words, but his face gives away everything. And that's just what Coach Munkin is. That's how he rolls. And you can tell when he's telling the truth, he rolls with it. You can tell when he's talking about Shedeur, he rolls with it. He's lighting up. You can tell when he has to bring Deshaun into it, he's trying to do things the corporate way. And that ain't his thing. And I think that's going to hurt. I think the biggest test for Deshaun as starter is going to come in week 2. And I say that because he goes to Tampa. Who does he play in Tampa? The guy that he replaced. They go after Baker Mayfield. And we know Baker Mayfield cuts promos like Shawn Michaels cut during the late 90s. He will, if you give him a reason, Baker will eviscerate you on the mic. Now, normally his revenge game, you could say, was when he was with the Panthers and going against Cleveland, and they lost that game by a field goal. But he wasn't going against Deshaun. That's the thing. He's going against the guy. Baker would not return their calls because he found out that they were hush talking about going after Deshaun. You don't think Baker isn't going to come out and want to throw sweet chin music? Remember when DX was on their last run and Shawn Michaels was going into WrestleMania to face The Undertaker for the second straight year? When he kicked Stan in the face, then continued to go down the hall and kick people in the face. That's going to be everybody that was there and involved in that. And Baker's going to want to come out and do it. Deshaun's going to get eviscerated, more than likely, in press conferences. He's going to get eviscerated in Tampa Bay. And he's going to have to come out and show that he is mentally tough enough to take it, or else he will not make it to week 3. If he does make it to week 3, he's going to have to show it again, because he's going to have a sold-out stadium booing him. If he does it, great. I'm still going to cheer for the Browns one way or the other. He's one player of an entire franchise. I hope for the best for him, and I hope the best for the Browns. I still think Shitter's the best player, but the bottom line is Deshaun was chosen. And if Deshaun's chosen, that's all that matters. He's going to go out there. And he's the Browns starter until he's not. And that's what we're all going to have to live with. I've already come to the conclusion that, yeah, he's our starter. So we're going to go with it. And I think everybody else needs to as well. And the only thing I ask, judge him for his play on the field. If he sucks, by all means boo him. All I ask is that you don't hurt his teammates inadvertently, because that's not right to them. But outside of that, you're fans. I'm a fan. Do what fans do. Can't tell you what you do with your own money. Just be mindful. That's all I ask. Make your own decisions after that. But Deshaun Watson is the Browns starter. And that's something we'll all live with until he's not. That being said, this has been a nice little talk. I hope everybody has had a nice time. Listen to my little history lesson. And hopefully everything works out in the Browns' favor. And especially for Deshaun. Because we know once things die down, well, this is last year his deal. After that, I think we all know what time it's going to be. But right now, remember, this show's on us.